why does lower back pain happen?
Yeah. So
Like, how did this happen to me? Because I've had a good back, you know, I'm an athlete, and then just out of nowhere, man, just aching.
Yep. And here's the truth, Ryan, is what everyone wants me to say right now is a 1-sentence answer and for boom to have it. Like, hey, Ryan, analyze my business. What's my bottleneck? Boom, give me the answer. You could probably do that in certain ones. But the truth, because I'm an evidence-based provider, is I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's because of core strength, because that's kind of a myth. Oh, it's because your hip flexors are tight. That's kind of a myth too. The truth and what the evidence tells us is that low back pain is caused from a multifactorial approach. There's multiple variables that are involved with someone developing low back pain. So just to provide some degree of concept here is, yes, is there some degree of I could be in the gym, I could lift something heavy that was too much and I hurt my back? Of course. But there's many other degrees of sleep quality, physical stress, emotional stress, what your diet is. If you've been doing poor movement patterns for too long, and then you receive a high degree of, work stress or a family member died, and now that compounds on top of it, and that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. You cannot trace any individual's back pain down to one singular event unless there's a scenario where, hey, I'm in the gym and I'm pulling a deadlift and I feel a pop in my back and now I feel back pain.
Right.
Okay, I can say that incident caused your back. But there's also a very high likelihood that leading up until that point, you probably weren't doing the right movements. You probably had poor sleep quality and you probably had movement deficits that caused that in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's many variables that
Yeah.
can
What
cause
was
back
weird
pain.
for me, like as an athlete, is the latter of, I'm in the gym, something happens. I'm like, oh, I pulled that. Or on the field, I'm running or I swing and I'm like, oh man, that swing felt weird. Like something very violent caused it. But this was weird because there was no violent action that caused it. I'm still strong and fit, and out of nowhere, it was just like, dude, my back is killing me the next day after standing for a long time. But I've done lots of events. I've stood for a long time in different places, and so I don't know. I think stress and work, and I sit down a lot. So I think about my lifestyle today. I'm definitely not as active as I was when I was playing, and maybe it's now catching up with me just sitting in this chair talking to people all day. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So think about it this way. This is a good visual. Is imagine you have a glass of water, but it's empty right now. And every time you have some degree of physical stress or poor sleep or poor diet or lack of good movement, you're pouring water into the cup. So everyone has a certain level of capacity. Capacity meaning how much water can fill your cup until you overflow.
Yeah.
So in this example, let's say when you add in too much water and it begins to overflow, now you have back pain.
Yeah.
So let's say my cup is empty. And let's say I'm super stressed with work. There's 10 fires I got to put out. Okay, I pour some water in. Okay, now I haven't gone to the gym for 3 days. So I haven't been moving and exercising. I pour in more water. Okay, now I get into a fight with my spouse. Okay, now I have some, interpersonal stress from that. Okay, I pour in some water from that. All right, now I have 2 nights in a row of really bad sleep because of work. Okay, I pour in some water there. And then I go into the gym and I perform an exercise that my body's not prepared for. I'm overly stressed. I haven't been sleeping good. I haven't been eating good. Now I do a lift or I do a movement that my body wasn't prepared for. Okay, I pour in more water. It overflows. Now I have pain.
It was everything.
So in your circumstance, you could have done multiple speaking events in the past, sure. But let's just pretend, and I'm just painting a picture for the purpose of understanding, is let's just pretend that leading up until that particular event, maybe you hadn't been standing for a long period of time for a very long time.
Yep.
So your body isn't used to standing for a long time. Then let's say leading up to that, other stresses occur. You reduce your movement. You're not working out as much. You're not drinking as much water. You're eating worse. Your sleep is impaired. And then you go and you have a very high degree of something you're not used to.
Yeah.
Standing for long periods. That's filling up the cup quicker than what might normally happen. It overflows and now you have pain.
And now I got pain. But why is back pain the thing that people get? Why isn't it leg pain or neck pain or, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is back pain so common?
Why is that like the piece?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a couple things here, and that is a difficult question in the root of it. But it being the number one disability in the world, there's a very bad narrative about back pain, both from a societal and healthcare perspective. But also, you use your low back for everything. So this is why it's the number one disability, is because when someone gets low back pain, it affects everything. So sitting in a chair, it affects. Standing long periods, it affects. Bending over to pick something up, it affects. Like your low back is a lever arm for any type of movement. So it's receiving a lot of load almost in any position or any activity or type of job that you do. So it takes a lot of load from your lifestyle if you're not, doing the right things to try to reduce the bad stressors and increase the good stressors as much as you can. So it's like a center point for load all the time. Like you're always using it, and it can be easy to overuse.
Yeah. Like how does just stress is such a vague term. Like
Sure.
how does stress fill your cup and like hurt your back?
Yeah. So stress in regards to physical stress or emotional stress or all the above?
I get physical stress, like if I'm doing hard things with my body. That part I understand, but like just work stress, dealing with deals and the economy and all this stuff.
Yeah. So I have two really good stories that I can try to tell briefly that will help answer that. But prior to that, we need to set the stage and understand that pain is an experience. So when I pinch my hand, okay, let's say I pinch it really hard and I say, ow, my hand hurts. But let's dissect what's actually happening here. I'm pinching my skin. My skin has, chemical sensors in it, or mechanoreceptors specifically, and they're sending signals to my brain. Hey, we're feeling this amount of pressure. Okay. My brain then decides, is that enough pressure to raise the alarm and cause my hand to feel pain? Or is it not enough, so I'm not going to sound the alarm? So if I pinch it lightly, it's going, we don't have to sound the alarm. If I pinch it really hard, if I got some clamp on it, it says, let's raise the alarm so we can remove that stimulus to try to protect our body.
Got it.
So all pain is real, but all pain is created in the brain. Another good example is, let's compare a paperclip to a shark attack. If we get a paper cut.
Okay.
If we get a paper cut, you and I, oh my gosh, you're thinking about all day. It stings. Everybody hates a paper cut, but a shark bites your leg off and you don't even know it. Pain's an experience. So with the understanding that all pain is real, but is created in the brain, we can understand how that things that affect the brain can affect the result of pain. So different forms of stressors will cause that alarm system, your nervous system, to become sensitized.
Got
and
it.
a sensitized nervous system, a sensitized brain, will be easier to trip the alarm. So if my alarm is here, and physical stress, all these things, I have to go to here in order to trip it, to then trigger pain. Then if I'm sensitive from stressors or from whatever, I become overly sensitive.
Yeah.
So my alarm bell lowers. Now it's easier to trip.
Ah, okay.
So here's now two great stories, and I'll tell these pretty briefly. We had one amazing client, Gabriella. She's from Brazil. Home run client. Okay. Hey guys, I've had sciatica for a year, tried injection, chiro, PT, nothing's doing anything. Like, I think I'm going to be stuck with this forever. Joins our program because we get like 40% improvement in her very first assessment. Like you, immediate reduction in leg symptoms. Oh my gosh, I have to do this. My life has changed. Within 6-7 weeks, she was completely pain-free. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This is a miracle. Back in the gym, crushing it. So we're just checking in on her. Yep, I'm good, guys. I'm good. Totally good. Then all of a sudden we get some like disaster mode Armageddon messages from her. Like, oh my gosh, my pain is back. I don't know what I did. All of it's back. Like, I'm crying, it burning down my leg again. And so keep in mind, we go from like best I've ever felt, 100% pain-free, to like day one in the program, I'm dying within like 48 hours. So, okay, what happened? So we're asking her, what happened? Are you following the routine? Did you do something out of the ordinary? No. I didn't do anything different. I've been following the plan. I didn't do any foreign exercises. Like, I don't know what I did. I don't know how I re-injured this. Freaking out. Rightfully so. So we get on a meeting with her. And we say, okay, Gabriella, what's going on? I don't know. I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't lift anything heavy. I don't know what I did to re-hurt my back and re-injure this. So now keep in mind what I'm saying there. I didn't do anything. Nothing different. No falls. No trauma. But I don't know what I did to re-injure it. Okay, well, if you didn't do anything different, if you didn't stress your back, if you didn't fall, how are you going to re-injure anything? It doesn't make sense. So we ask her, okay, Gabriella, like, I hear what you're saying, but what's recently happened in your life? Like, what's going on behind the scene here?
Right.
Oh, I don't know. Like, how's work? Oh, work is okay, a little stressful, but okay. Is there anything going on in your family? Has any traumatic incident happened recently? And she breaks down crying. And she says, oh, about 4 days ago, my best friend died.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, I'm sorry to hear, condolences. Were you in pain before you had the conversation? No, I was pain-free, like talking to you guys. Okay. And you received the news. And how soon after did you send us that first message? The next day. So she's been pain-free for like a month. She gets the news that her best friend died. Next day, all of her pain is completely returned. So in that context, we explained to her, hey, pain is multifactorial. Your nervous system is sensitive. You're telling us you did not lift anything heavy. You didn't fall. No incident occurred that could have damaged your back. So nothing is damaged. You feel more pain, but hurt doesn't equal harm.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you feel pain doesn't mean something is damaged. The experience of pain is influenced by many things. We provided that education, explained to her, do you see the correlation between you receiving this tragic news and your pain returning? She had a light bulb moment, and next day she woke up no pain, completely gone, 100% regressed out of the leg. So in that context, the emotional, stress of her friend dying channeled into a previous injury because that's what it does.
Got it.
Scenario number 2, I'll describe this quicker. We had a client, amazing, home run, pain-free, gets into a car wreck, not a crazy car wreck. With many type of, personal injury cases, there's,
you gotta have pain.
Yeah, you gotta have pain. The lawyer's jumping on it. Hey, go see this provider. And usually they have a plan. Okay, let's get as much imaging as possible. Let's necessitate procedures to rack up a case so everyone can get a nice reimbursement. It's super criminal. I can't stand it. I wish it was illegal, but it's a business in and of itself, and it's taking advantage of a ton of people in pain, and it drives me absolutely insane. Our client happened to our client. So he's doing amazing, gets in a car wreck, is told he has to see this lawyer. He has to go to this clinic, goes in the clinic. They take MRIs, CT, X-ray, and they sit him down and they tell him, you're basically going to die if you don't do surgery and do injection and do all this. They scare the life out of him by using imaging to frighten him. He walks out of there feeling like his life is over, just devastated. We don't hear from him for like a couple weeks, messages us again. Hey, I'm in pain. I'm feeling terrible. You were doing amazing. What happened? We give him the same conversation. Dude, they scared you. They used scare tactics. They freaked you out. Like, your function is the exact same as how you were a couple weeks ago when you were pain-free. Like, you are okay. You're okay. Don't let the narrative about your imaging and what's shown in your x-rays be used against you. Like, you've done amazing, and all that progress you made, it's not poof gone. Once again, within a week, pain completely gone. Didn't get an unnecessary surgery that he was being pushed to receive. Didn't get unnecessary injections, nerve ablations that he was being pushed to receive.
Wow.
Avoided all of that because we actually analyzed the situation like an evidence-based practitioner.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dang. So stress and emotions play a huge role in your actual pain tolerance and physical health. And that makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, I'm a little harsh. Like, I call a lot of people soft, and I think a lot of it comes from that. Like, I think that they're just going through so many things emotionally and mentally and everything else that they really are feeling the pain and the pressure and everything else that's just causing them to spiral, And so, I don't know. I've kind of taken a holistic approach to life, and that's like what this podcast is about, Wealthy Way, where it's like, dude, if your spiritual life's not on point, your physical health, your relationships, and your finances, your money, they all are going to cause each other to just have major issues. And like what you're describing is that, where it's like, dude, if you got work stress, that will affect you physically. That can cause your lower back pain and everything else. If you have relational stress, your friend died, your marriage is going through something, that's going to cause back pain and other things. And like, When you have back pain, then that makes you out of work and you can't do your job as good. So now your money's stressing. And then guess what? That's more stress. And it's just like this downward spiral.
Yeah. So at the core of it, and I want to make this very clear to all the listeners, like, I'm not just saying, oh, like, nothing's actually wrong with your back. You're completely fine. It's just all stress. Like, I agree in certain sense that some people aren't managing their stress. Like, life isn't as hard as you might think it is. Like, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But in certain instances, what I'm describing here is that everybody that experiences pain, there's usually some degree of, hey, you didn't do a right movement, or yeah, maybe you were in the gym, you felt a pop. And yes, there is physically something going on that we need to address with the right exercise, the right mobility, the right strength to resolve that. But there's components of all these other stressors that can fill your cup, that can add to it. And those need to be addressed in the order of priority. So it's not a matter of if anyone has these other things going on that can affect their pain. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of how much. And everybody deals with those components, the mental components of pain, to some degree.
Right. How do you deal with those problems? Do you let it affect you in different ways? And
how big is your cup?
Yeah.
People have different size cups.
That's true too.
And you can build a bigger cup through understanding these things, through the right education, through the right movements, the right habits. You can create a bigger cup.
Now, for you watching me on your screen right now, I know you're struggling with pain and obviously want to fix it. So if you would like to go through an assessment just like I took Ryan through to learn what's causing your pain and how to find relief extremely quickly, then you can get a free demo with my team. And all you need to do is text me the word pain to 317-751-9509, and we'll send you a few questions, and then we can book a time to meet with you, go over your situation, and learn how we can help you wherever you're at in the world. Your life is worth living without pain. Looking forward to talking to you soon.